At Northcrest Academy, an elite prep school tucked behind ivy-covered gates and old money, the air didn't just smell like privilege, it reeked of hierarchy. Here, last names were currency. Friendships were transactional. And if you weren't legacy, you were invisible. But that morning, things were about to shift. Jayla Carter Power walked down the third-floor hallway, headphones in, hoodie up. Her playlist blasted a beat-heavy track that matched her pace, focus locked on the clock. Honors physics in less than 4 minutes, and Dr. Min wasn't the kind to accept excuses. Especially not hers. Then, like a cliché scene in a bad teen drama, he appeared. Blocking the middle of the corridor like he owned the floor was Chase Holbrook. 6 feet of smugness, sandy hair that probably cost more than her laptop to maintain, and that obnoxious smirk that got him out of detentions and into Instagram stories. Jayla spotted him too late. "Oh look," Chase said, arms crossed over his chest as he leaned against someone else's locker. "Did someone leave the side gate open again, or did you just get lost on your way to public school?" Conversations around them died down. Students slowed, then paused, forming a loose circle. Phones started rising. This was the Northcrest ritual. Chase picked a target, and the herd watched. Jayla stopped walking but didn't take out her earbuds. "Move," she said. Flat. No emotion. Eyes fixed ahead. Chase laughed. "Excuse me? You forgot to say please." He stepped into her space. A little too close. He wasn't touching her, yet, but the threat was in the air. "People like you don't belong here," he said. "This place is curated." She removed one earbud and stared at him, jaw tight. "I don't have time for your cosplay villain nonsense, Holbrook." Wrong answer. He shoved her, too hard for a joke, not hard enough to hurt, but just enough to make a point. It echoed through the hallway like a slap. "Guess." A few whispered, "Oh." The iPhones tilted up in unison. Jayla didn't flinch. She exhaled slowly and set her backpack down with care. Chase rolled his eyes. "What, you gonna do yoga at me?" She moved. A quick step forward. Her hand snapped around his wrist, she pivoted low, used his own momentum, and boom, flipped him clean over her hip. He hit the floor with an ugly smack. The crowd jumped back. Silence. A second passed. Then another. Chase lay stunned, eyes wide, staring up at the fluorescent lights like they'd betrayed him. Jayla picked up her backpack, slid the strap back over her shoulder, stepped around his body like he was a puddle of spilled soda. She glanced back once. "Next time, pick on someone your size," she said. Someone laughed. Then more. Applause. Cheers. A couple of kids were already editing the clip for TikTok. Someone yelled, "Upload it now." Chase rolled onto his side, groaning. His cheeks were on fire. His teeth clenched. He wasn't just embarrassed, he was humiliated. And if there's one thing Chase Holbrook didn't do, forgive. By third period, the whole school knew. Even the lunch staff were talking. By noon the next day, the video was everywhere. "Rich jerk gets bodied by black belt chick at prep school," was the caption plastered across TikTok, Instagram, even a few Reddit threads. The clip of Jayla flipping Chase over her shoulder had looped more times than a cat video. "Yo, she's got MMA skills. Somebody get her a dojo and a scholarship. Teach me, Sensei Jayla." Jayla wasn't used to attention like this. People who'd never looked twice at her before were suddenly pulling out chairs next to her at lunch. Classmates who used to pretend she didn't exist now laughed too hard at her jokes and hung onto her every word. It felt strange. Not bad, just surreal. But across the cafeteria, Chase Holbrook was stewing. His bruised ego wasn't healing. Humiliation wasn't what he felt, it was fury. Cold and focused. He wanted payback. By the following morning, Northcrest Academy still hadn't shut up about the flip. Jayla felt eyes on her constantly. Some curious, some envious, a few definitely hostile. She tried to ignore it. Tried to keep her head down. Then her phone buzzed in fourth period. Blocked number. One sentence. "Meet me at the gym after school. Let's finish this." No signature. But she didn't need one. It was Chase. Of course it was. Jayla stared at the message for a second. Then she tucked her phone away and went back to taking notes. She wasn't scared. But maybe she should have been. Northcrest Gym was enormous. Walls lined with trophies, the smell of polished wood and money in the air. Banners from decades-old championships swayed gently above. At 4:15 p.m., it looked deserted. Jayla stepped inside. Her shoes echoed across the court. The door slammed shut behind her. "Bad move showing up, Carter," a voice said. Chase stepped out from behind the bleachers, but he wasn't alone. 3 other guys followed: Ryder, Benji, and Ty. His crew. Always around. Always backing him up. Jayla scanned them calmly. "Wow. 4-on-1? You must be real confident." Chase's jaw tightened. "This isn't about fear." She tilted her head. "It's about pride. Yours got snapped in half yesterday." He took a step forward, eyes burning. "After today, you'll remember where you belong." Those words lit something in her. She'd heard them before. Too many times. In too many ways. She took a breath. Centered herself. Let her hands drop loose by her sides. Chase lunged. Sloppy. Reckless. Fueled by rage, not skill. Jayla sidestepped him with ease. "Try harder." Then Ryder made his move, too slow. She dropped to one knee, swept his legs, and sent him crashing. Benji tried a bear hug from behind. Big mistake. She elbowed him in the ribs, hard. He dropped instantly, gasping for air. Ty hesitated. That was all she needed. She spun, landed a sharp kick to his chest, and sent him flying backward. Now it was just Chase. He was breathing hard. Furious. Humiliated again. He swung wildly. Jayla dodged. Twice. 3 times. A short, brutal kick to his gut folded him in half. She grabbed his collar, yanked him down, and slammed him to the floor. He landed hard, breath knocked out of him. Jayla crouched next to him, voice low and firm. "Touch me again," she said, "and I promise you'll regret it worse." Silence filled the gym. Chase rolled over slowly, coughing. His friends lay groaning around him like discarded props. Jayla stood and adjusted her hoodie like nothing happened. By first bell the next morning, Northcrest had a new reputation to whisper about, and it wasn't Chase Holbrooks anymore. People moved out of Jayla's way now. Not out of fear. Out of respect. And Chase? He stayed quiet. Because some people, you just don't test twice. Jayla Carter didn't ask to be a symbol. She didn't throw that flip expecting to go viral. She just wanted to survive another day at a school that never felt built for her in the first place. But now her name echoed through Northcrest's marble halls like a warning shot. People didn't look through her anymore. They looked twice. Some looked with admiration, some with envy, and a few with silent resentment. But no one looked down on her. Not anymore. And Chase Holbrook? He stopped showing up in the cafeteria. Word was his parents considered transferring him out, for his own good. Maybe it was shame. Maybe it was pressure. Maybe he just couldn't take walking those halls with everyone knowing he got dropped, twice, by the girl he used to call out of place. Jayla never celebrated. She didn't strut. She didn't gloat. Instead, she kept showing up. To class. To study group. To fencing club, yeah, she joined that too. Turned out, a few of the other, invisible kids had hands just like hers. And for the first time, they weren't afraid to raise them. A quiet revolution started brewing. People who once whispered behind closed doors were speaking out loud. Northcrest's polished surface began to crack, not with violence, but with questions. Who gets protected here? Who gets targeted? Why does it take someone getting body slammed in the gym for things to change? It wasn't just about Jayla anymore. Still, not everything changed. Not all the sneers vanished. Not all the stares softened. Institutions like Northcrest don't flip overnight. They fracture slowly. One pressure point at a time. But Jayla? She became one of those pressure points. Ms. Duran, her AP Lit teacher, stopped her after class one day. "You know, Carter," she said, folding her arms, "you've got a voice. Might be time you used it for more than self-defense." Jayla just smiled. "I'm already using it." Because power doesn't always look like a viral video or a knockout punch. Sometimes it's in showing up again and again, even when they hope you won't. It's in knowing you belong, even when they try to convince you otherwise. And Chase? Maybe one day he'll learn something from all this. Maybe not. That wasn't Jayla's problem. She didn't flip him for revenge. She flipped him because sometimes the only way to be heard in a place like Northcrest is to shake the whole damn foundation. And now that the cracks had started, there was no going back. The next chapter wasn't about Chase Holbrook. It wasn't about going viral. It was about what came next, for Jayla, for the school, and for every other kid who'd ever been made to feel small. Because Northcrest was changing. And Jayla Carter? She wasn't just part of that change. She was the change. In the weeks that followed, Jayla started writing essays, opinion pieces, even a short story that got published in the school's literary journal. She didn't write about the fight. She didn't need to. Her presence spoke loud enough. What surprised her most was how many students, quiet ones, overlooked ones, started coming to her. Not for protection, but for perspective. For solidarity. Jayla realized then that change doesn't start with noise. It starts with nerve. And she had plenty. So when the student council elections rolled around that spring, and her name showed up on the ballot, nominated by someone she didn't even know, she didn't hesitate. She circled her name. Whatever came next, she was ready for it.